I'm in one of my favourite habitats. You tend not to see many naturalists or entomologists in this kind of habitat, and yet while everybody just assumes that cemeteries are full of death and misery and doom and gloom and past lives, well, to a degree they are, but they're also hosts to a whole range of life, and I'd go so far as to say that there's far more life in any cemetery or churchyard than there is death and misery. For an entomologist, churchyards and cemeteries are absolutely wonderful places to come and spend an hour just looking on the gravestones, because there's a whole range of species, and if you get a mild late autumn day like today, you can be occupied for several hours. There's much to see if you look carefully, and sometimes on the likes of these gravestones behind me, they can be almost like the equivalent of the Serengeti, but in miniature. There's life and death and life at risk on a lot of these gravestones if you just look for them, and bear in mind that they're in miniature. It's a miniature world, but that miniature world can be equally as tough, if not tougher, than our world. We're right at the end of October. In fact, when I film this, it's Halloween. Get a mild late October and any mild day in early November, or at least the first half of November. If you've got an old stone bridge or a stone wall, or as in this case Retford Cemetery and an old stone gravestone, you could see one of these. I've featured these many times before on this channel, and this is the larval case of Darlica triquitrella. We have 3 species of Darlica in Nottinghamshire, and this case is probably the easiest of what are 3 very similar cases to identify, because it's the largest. This particular case is a centimetre long, but you can identify triquitrella from the others because at the front end, which is the top bit as we look at it here, there will be some kind of insect fragments or grains of sand. But this time of year they come from sort of the ground layer and the leaf litter and will ascend any kind of object. The gravestones here at Retford Cemetery can have a lot of these on, and it's a very good cemetery actually for Psychidae moths. The Americans call them bagworms, if I haven't mentioned it already. Old gravestones like this, not old granite ones, you want the old stone ones that insects and larvae can get a grip of. And as I say, cemetery here has a wide range of species. And just a few inches from this, but out of shot, is Lophiophocortella, whose cases are very, very small at the moment, but they're active because of the mild conditions today. It's incredible that this larva can lump this case around, because the case must be 3 or 4 times the weight of the larva, and it's only the forelegs that the larva uses to walk or crawl or cling onto the side of a gravestone in this instance. It's quite remarkable that they can do this. And this one appears to be feeding. It certainly has been prior to me beginning filming. But basically what they're looking for this time of year, they're looking for somewhere to overwinter. And once they've overwintered, which is usually under some slight overhang or somewhere where they can tuck themselves in, some kind of nook and cranny or crevice, and they will overwinter, and then the moths hatch early in the spring. The females are flightless, and this species is parthenogenic, means that there's no males, which is quite an incredible thing in itself. The females are wingless and only just pop out of the case from the bottom end of the case purely to lay the eggs in the case. I suppose in some ways you could say, yeah, this is quite a sad and pathetic and rather dismal life, but they get by and they don't complain. But it's very successful. It's a very successful method. Here you can just about see the larva's sort of chestnut brown head. The case itself, as I mentioned, is about 1 centimetre in length, and if you was to cut through it, take a cross section through it, you would see that it's triangular in cross section. Spun from silk and then over time encased in tiny little grains of sand and detritus, and then right at the head a range of insect fragments. Some say that some of these larvae that collect insect fragments can't survive without doing so and actually eating some. But this one, as you can see by the looks of it, is trying to graze on any little remnant of lichen that's on there. It's not on a bit that's very lichen covered actually. And there's the larva. What an effort though. And of course the larva has to hold on to its case once it's climbing too. Not only is it climbing up with the front legs, but I presume that any pro legs that there are, it might be rudimentary, are clinging to the inside of the case. You don't want to climb something and then lose your home, fall into the floor. It's quite remarkable. Dennis and I did lots of work on Psychidae moths. We mapped them as best as we could throughout the county, and we produced a couple of county atlases to Psychidae moths. We found a number of species which were new to Nottinghamshire because nobody had bothered to look at them. It's very, very interesting. I'm fascinated by Psychidae moths, and I think we could have certainly one more species. Fraught betulina is the most likely one to turn up, but there could be another one. And there's a parasitic wasp. Look at that was an interesting bit of reaction, because presumably being Lepidoptera, these will have parasitic wasps that are looking for somewhere to lay their egg. It's still in the area actually, it's just out of screen, out of shot. Whether it's going to come back and have another go, I don't know. But that was a lovely bit of interaction. Just shows how these larvae, even though they have a case to a parasitic wasp, that case is no guarantee of protection. The ovipositor can go straight through it and straight into the larva. And instead of Darlica triquitella hatching out and laying her eggs in 2026, there would be lots of young and fresh parasitic wasps. The struggles of life, eh? All on a gravestone.